So, continuing from the previous lecture, in this lecture, we'll be looking at cases of underdamping, overdamping, and critical damping. So, I mean, irrespective of whether our RLC is a series or parallel circuit, we can, assume the damping coefficient for our circuit to be alpha and omega naught to be our resonant frequency, which comes out to be root of 1 by root of LC in both the cases of RLC circuit. So, our solution is basically going to be of this form, like we've seen in the last class, like the roots of the characteristic equation come out to be S1 comma S2 equal to minus L minus alpha plus minus root of alpha square minus omega naught square. So when alpha is greater than omega naught, both the S1 and S2 are going to be real, and the decay is sort of going to be quite quick, happening at a faster rate than the other cases. So this will be the overdamped case. And when alpha is equal to omega naught, we have S1 equal to S2. This is known as our critically damped case. And when alpha is less than omega naught, S1 and S2 both are going to be imaginary, and this is like our underdamped case. For instance, like if we take this underdamped case and assume that S1 and S2 both are going to be of this form, like of some alpha plus minus j omega form. So if you try and find the VC in this case, it sort of comes out to be in this form. Like if you just try and simplify it, so it comes out to be 2a into exponential of sigma t into cos of omega t, right? So sigma is obviously negative here. So since sigma is negative, we see decays with time, but the decay rate is not as high as the overdamped case, since we have this cos omega t term also alongside. So this is these are the cases of overdamped, critically damped, and underdamped for our second order systems. Now, if you move on and look at a few other things for our second order circuits, like if you have a series circuit, this was our characteristic equation. So omega, this 1 by root LC can be written as omega n square. Here omega n is like our resonant frequency. So if this is omega n square, and similarly here the coefficient of the speed, that is r by l, can be written as 2 into this damping factor. Damping factor in series case is basically r by 2 into root c by l. So if you write this equation as 2 into sigma into omega n into p plus some omega n square, this symbol is basically our damping factor. And also, I mean, based on this damping factor, you can try calculating what is known as the quality factor for our circuit. So if you try and find a quality factor for our circuit, I mean, it is defined as the peak or the maximum frequency divided by the 3 dB bandwidth, right? So it is defined in this way, like f naught by delta f or omega naught by delta omega, where this delta omega is a 3 dB bandwidth. So since our 3 dB bandwidth is 2 alpha, we can write this quality factor is omega naught by 2 alpha, and it comes out to be 1 by root over L by C. And in the case, you can do the same for the case of parallel RLC circuit and find out the damping factor and quality factor in that case too. Another way of defining this quality factor would be, Q is equals to 2 pi into the peak energy stored divided by the energy dissipated in each cycle. This can be derived by taking a simple series RLC circuit. You can check that this relation is also holding true, and something which we can make use of. Now, if you look at the graphical representation of each of these responses, this overdamped case is something like this, where it starts off and then keeps falling off continuously, and then we have our critically damped case, and underdamped case is sort of sinusoidal as well as decaying at the same time. And if you look at this, the decay is the fastest in the case of critical damping, because I mean the decay is happening the fastest in the critically damped case, and that is why critical damping is desirable, because the response is going to be decaying at the fastest rate without getting into any sort of oscillatory mode. So in that sense, critically damped case is going to be quite desirable. Then overdamped, also there's continuous decay of our initial state, and in underdamped there is some sort of sinusoidal oscillation along with simultaneous decay. Now, if you want to look at the transfer function for our RLC circuits, if you try and look at the transfer function for either series or parallel, I mean, you can just find out directly by substituting it in a differential equation and then just simplifying it. Now, if you look at the general form of h of j omega for an RLC circuit, it is of this form, like 1 by 1 minus omega square by omega n square, where omega n is like our resonant frequency, plus j omega by q omega n. Q is like our quality factor and omega n is our resonant frequency. So if you find the magnitude here, it comes out to be 1 by 1 plus omega square by omega n square into 1 by q square minus 2 plus omega power 4 by omega n power 4. So whenever omega is way lesser than or way lower than omega n, that is the resonant frequency, our h of j omega is basically going to be 1. And when omega is far higher than omega n, our h of j omega comes out to be omega n square by omega square, right? So if you're trying to find the expected plot based on that, it is going to be 1 till omega equals to omega n, and after omega is greater than omega n, it keeps falling off directly. Like when we are taking this with respect to our log of omega, it is going to be a straight line with negative slope, and it will just keep falling off. But the actual plot is slightly different because at omega equals to omega n, the actual value of h of j omega is the quality factor, not 1, but actually the quality factor. There is going to be a slight rise, and there is going to be a peak at omega n, and the value of the peak is going to be our quality factor for the RLC circuit, right? So, I mean, based on different values of quality factor, our actual response would look quite different. So, if we had a case where 1 by q square is equals to 2, that is this coefficient of omega square by omega n square turns out to be 0, we'll have the slightest, flattest response. And when 1 by q square is less than 2, that is q is greater than 1 by root 2, our curve, sort of rises before falling off. But if 1 by q square is greater than 2, that is q is less than 1 by root 2, it would continuously just keep falling off. Since this would also, take a positive value, and this denominator is continuously increasing, it will continuously keep falling off. So the expected plot or the asymptotic plot is represented by this yellow shaped line here, and our actual plot looks similar to this black shaped plot here. So this is like our actual plot, and this is our expected plot. And based on different values of q, our actual plot might look different. So that is it for this lecture.